Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Monday, October 23rd, you've tuned into the NFT Morning Show. Today, we are going to discuss Solana reaching its highest price since the FTX collapse. We're going to talk about the NFT market's continued rally, led none other than who else, ladies and gentlemen? What NFT do NFT people love to buy? Azuki. And then last but not least, whether or not this run will continue till the end of the year. So a lot of meat on the bone of things to discuss today. Clemente pinned Nick's apple picking video that he posted yesterday. Nick, that looked like it was a lot of fun to create.
I mean, it involves sitting 5 hours in traffic to go to literally just pick some apples. Going anywhere on a Sunday is ridiculous.
That long?
The ride back was over 2.5 hours.
You can almost get to Boston in that amount of time.
How far is it no traffic? Like, what are we comparing this to?
An hour and a half.
Okay.
So you went out of town then. An hour and a half, no traffic. You were out of town.
Yeah. So it turns out that there's not many orchards in Brooklyn. So what I had to do is get in my car and drive toward an orchard. This happens to be one of the closer orchards. So
I don't know about that.
Are you? Pio's just been coming at me all morning, even before the show, being like, "Oh, that drone shot, but whatever. All you got to do is buy a drone." Oh, this orchard is one of the closer ones. No, it's not. Give me a list of orchards, Pio, and tell me about the last time you made a video to orchard and when you last flew a drone. You jerk.
Well, first of all, 90 minutes
answer those questions one at a time. Let's go. What's the closest orchard to Brooklyn?
I gotta Google it.
So tell me, which is the closest? Is it closer than an hour and a half?
Well, give me a moment. I'll give it a quick Goog.
I feel like there's got to be one in Manhattan. Like Central Park should have an orchard somewhere, you know, that you can just stroll around. They're known for their apples.
I'm just saying there's not a lot of places to go for picking orchards. North Salem, where is that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound
like
super
somewhere
close.
in Massachusetts.
It's on the border of Connecticut. That one could be close. The directions from to there claim that it's an hour, same distance. So I'm curious what the closest one is.
I found one in Jersey that doesn't look that far. It's probably actually really close. Yeah, someone just went in. There's hella Jersey orchards for sure. You probably could have taken public transportation out there.
Where is it? Give me the name of one.
But wait, Bunny, hold on. Bunny's coming. Bunny's married and has children. I wouldn't be surprised if he's been. Yo, Bunny, you there? You there, Bunny? Bunny. Almost connected. It's going to take so long. I think there's probably some orchards out in Jersey. Yeah, Sun High Orchards right here. This one actually looks really nice. Nice pumpkin patch. Look up that one. Sun High Orchards. That one looks pretty good.
Okay, so that's an hour and 10 minutes. Okay, so it was
look
20
at that.
minutes.
And that's on a Monday morning, buddy, because we said no traffic. That might be 50 minutes, no traffic.
No, this is the no traffic version of it, because most people aren't going out to Sun High Orchards on a Monday morning.
I don't know, 9 a.m. Monday morning traffic in New York City. I think a lot of people might argue there might be some at that time.
It's showing pretty good. I would actually say that on a normal time, like on a Sunday, coming back, it would have been 2 hours. No, not kidding.
You okay? You said it. You said it. Anyway, it's a fun little video. Yeah, you said you're going to drop another video today. Is that right?
Yeah, because you're not willing to. So that's where I'm at right now. Is I'm alone on an island just recording content. Pio made a commitment last week to focus on videos, and then suggested we start shooting on Thursday. So that's
Wednesday
commitment that it was Thursday. That Pio has in his mind is like, and then what he's going to do is during all 4 videos that I release between now and then, he's just going to be throwing shade the entire time in those videos. So, but I'm willing to go against the grain and just demonstrate my commitment to the promise that we made to ourselves.
Signal, please save us from this psycho. Let's do the weather report. Good
no, man. First of all, I ain't saving no one because Nick is right. Theo's going for perfect angles, looking for that perfect music video, making sure the dancers are the back are on time. Nick's like, fuck the dancing, fuck the choreography. Let's just get these done. So you know what? You keep throwing those apples, Nick. I like the video. I enjoyed it. But let's get into the weather report. Let's be seeing what's going on over the weekend because markets are looking good. Monday, October the 23rd, that market volume coming in for 12.4 million. Blur at 8.3, OpenSea at 2.6. Onto the movers and shakers. Well, everything was in the green this weekend, which is unusual. Led by, as Pio was saying, Azuki. That was up over 20% to 5.4 ETH. Apes up at 26.3, and Captains little fall down to 4.2. Other movers included Only Force. They were up 43% following a huge overnight sweep. Doodles up 9% to 1.45, and Muffers were up 29% to 0.67. Onto the headlines of the weekend, you got Solana. We've been talking about that for ages. That reached $30 for the first time since the FTX collapse in last November. Went up to 31 before slightly retracing. Sol is actually up 52% in the last 30 days and is up 300% year to date as it started the year at a $10 price point. Looking at the art market, Artist Milk sold out his Nami collection of 1,000 NFTs for 0.05 ETH each on Friday, and the collection has since then done a 6x to 0.3 ETH. Also, William Mappin's Sketchbook A auction also sold for $10,700 per NFT for a total sale of $646,000. Onto those shoes, those Artifact Air Force Ones. We talked about that last week. We saw Franilation's collection. They'll finally deliver. The shoes have begun seeing those secondary sales on eBay and StockX. The Murakami drips are seeing sales of $2,000 plus on eBay, while most of the other shoes also saw $1,000 sales, but the prices have begun to decrease as more people have listed those fresh shoes. And then lastly, over the weekend, a new wallet swept 45 Azukis and 45 Elementals, fueling that Azuki weekend run. The collection is up 45% in the last 30 days to 5.4 ETH and has reflipped Pudgy Penguins, Mutants, and Captains. It looks like Azuki is back with a vengeance. That is all for the weekend news. It is back to you folks in the studio.
I was reading those comments.
Oh no, I was laughing at Azuki. What are the comments saying?
I thought we were talking about me.
The CBD BPD. That was a good one. Urban Dictionary. That was a W from Urban Dictionary. Ladies and gentlemen, the Daily Digest is posted to X every morning. It's pinned up top on the Twitter space. If you want it via email, subscribe at thenifty.com. Goes out 5 days a week. The Solana-based Lotus NFT project will be shutting down operations after their founder stated that they could not see a path to becoming sustainably profitable. Easy. What, they didn't have a business?
Dude, this has been the talk of the weekend. I tuned into a bunch of spaces, was listening to a ton of people's hot takes on both sides of this. And I like the founder. So everyone's like, you're just biased because you like him. But I even said, I was like, dude, there's got to come a time where it's either a failed business or a rug. They didn't delete the Twitter and they didn't delete the Discord. They openly came out with a statement. What does bother me is that they still have capital and they didn't refund buyers in any capacity. They staked all of it to a validator. And I'm like, that's a bad look. They should have just divvied it up, which would have been a fraction, and just been like, here's the cash, let it fly. But no, they had no business. They'd been working on games. What bothered a lot of people too was they launched like a hype video like 72 hours before this announcement. So a lot of people were like, you basically just farmed royalties and then turned them to zero on your announcement, which was kind of like a shady look because it went from like, here's this stuff that's coming to we're ceasing operations. We can't find an avenue in which this is profitable anymore.
There was no business. And every single time that there's no business, it's going to die. So maybe you'll start to learn, ladies and gentlemen, if there ain't a business, it's over. And it's going to happen over and over again. One by one, they're going to drop like flies. Next story, Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy Bitcoin investment is, you guessed it, finally back in the green with an average purchase price of $29,582 as Bitcoin breaks past $30,000 once again. Michael Saylor having the last laugh, and he will continue to for decades. A third-party game developer employee Nick, love that one.
You're suffering from MSDITM.
I know exactly what that is. A third-party game developer employee assisting Yuga Labs with Legends of Mara was terminated after using insider information to unfairly acquire enchanters and farmers. Goodness gracious, man. Like, people are just so funny. Like, you had to make a few extra bucks off of some NFT purchases. Come on now. Alien CryptoPunk number 5905. I saw this one. This is crazy. Received a bid of 1,100 Ethereum, $1.77 million, the highest alien bid in almost a year. Humongous bid on an NFT. Last but not least, after rumors of the $6.2 million sale 4 months ago, Sotheby's head of digital art stated that the goose has been sold and paid for and will be transferred very soon. I believe that this is only a story because NFT people tried to cling to anything that they could consider FUD. And because there's like a couple of month period for finality, like finalization of a sale from, a sale of that magnitude from Sotheby's, they were like, the sale's not actually going through. What a surprise. It went through. So there you go. Those are the updates from the Daily Digest. Nick, go ahead.
There was legitimate FUD around that, primarily that 6529 went and bid on the auction and didn't have the money. I mean, that's like that was basically the way that was sold. So this guy's out there just making bids, and it took him months to settle. I didn't realize that was an option. Yeah, I can just show up to Sotheby's and be like, 10 million.
Well, Spencer did that.
But he actually had the money. Like, he would have been able to fulfill the bids that he was offering. But apparently you're able to just show up at the auction and just throw out a random number and then go behind the scenes and go raise funds to close that deal. I legit did not know that was an option. I thought you had to show that you had a verifiable amount, like in escrow or something like that. Like, in this case, it was just like my word, the person's word. And so they were just like, yeah, look, I got money. I got 50K in that checking account right there. That qualifies me. You don't think I can put together another 15 million? Like, come on now.
Spencer did say that he had to, you had to KYC to participate in any auction that day. And then if you wanted to participate in the Goose auction, there was a separate, more involved KYC. But yeah, I mean, I don't know about the whole, having proof of funds or anything like that.
I just think that's fascinating. I mean, that's like an opportunity to go in there you're still bidding against somebody, so you are going to pay the highest price in the market at that moment. So, I mean, I don't know that it's really like that big of a business plan, but yeah.
There you go. Well, look, first story, easy. We're going to throw to you. NFTs comeback. We got top 7-day movers. Azuki by 32% gain. Captains 22%. DGods 13%. Even some lower caps, Moonbirds, CloneX, and Doodles all up over 10%. What do you make of what's going on?
Real quick, I just want to interject. The Azuki thing that you're saying isn't because like people just want to degen into it. It was because they released some gaming information, basically.
Also wrong. A wallet with $500,000 swept 45 Azukis and 100 Elementals over the weekend. So that's why they're up. One single wallet.
There was some gaming thing, right?
Yeah, that was released Monday last week. They made a hire who was a former, I forget the exact organizations that they were behind, but he comes from the gaming realm. So you ended up seeing a lot of the gaming creators talking about this, seeming that Azuki is going to get into the gaming side of things. But literally the only reason they're up is because one wallet has basically just continued to sweep. I believe the wallet's now out of capital, but it was funded, I think, through Binance, and they swept a little over $500,000 of just pure Azuki assets from Elementals, revealed Elementals, which was even more interesting, and then Azukis, and it's the only thing that the wallet holds. So there's obviously a lot of speculation on like why they would do that and who it was and what it could be, but that was like the big, I guess, call to action of what actually happened there was someone just went through and swept the ever living shit out of them. But yeah, we're seeing a ton of other stuff. The artifact pump's not surprising because now you're seeing people realize like if I can sit on this for 6 months, forge something, there's potential to basically recoup 50% of the costs. DGods was an interesting sweep, but you're also seeing Lil and Big Pudgies both gain legs here. both also up. Even like some quote degen mints are getting some volume here on the lower side. Sugartown auras are back up. It seems like there's some life in the space. And I know we talked about it briefly, that flooring protocol was the reason for it, but I don't think that's the case, considering there's only 4 collections on there. I think the bigger thing here is that with ETH not showing as much strength in comparison to some other tokens, it seems that people are more conscious of getting exposure to NFTs that potentially have life here, while the ETH BTC pair and even ETH Sol pair continues to lag. Some people prefer to speculate on the underlying asset, which they view as like a leveraged position on the crypto currency. So yeah, it's really interesting.
It's very interesting. It's also interesting that NFTs are, well, it's interesting and it's not interesting that NFTs are seeing volume in the face of crypto pumping. We kind of see this stuff in waves. When there's like a face melting, God candle crypto pump, that's when you see NFTs sell off hard. But when you kind of go through these periods where crypto is kind of steadily climbing, that's when you can see some stuff. It's almost like people are like, all right, cool. Well, I'll mess with NFTs a little bit again. I mean, obviously a $500,000 sweep of Azuki is a unique event. That's not something that's happening every single day. Again, can't say I'm surprised that it happened with Azuki. We've seen stuff like this happen again and again and again. The fact that it went above Pudgy just like that is pretty wild to me, especially given the size of that collection and the difference in those two, like the histories of those two collections is pretty crazy. But at the same time, people like the NFT, Azuki is an insanely popular NFT collection. You are in denial if you think that it's not. Like it's one
got
of
a
the
cult
most popular.
following, man. Like for whatever reason, it's just the one people look at it and they're like, I want exposure to this. Of course, too, it's like, when I'm looking at the situation that's been unfolding here with a lot of these NFT assets, a lot of these charts look really strong. Like volume surges have been wild. So now I'm like, at this point, I don't want to get exposure to stuff that's like running this hard. You even look at like art. That milk NFT took 7 days to mint out. As soon as Snowfro bought one and people saw it on chain, it sold out almost instantly. Bunny shared that while it was still minting with 25% left. Neither of us touched it because we were like, I don't know what the hell this is. And I think we said it hit 0.3. The high was 0.5. So it came out and did a 10x. So even that's crazy. I think you look at something that's even newer like Sugartown, and I do hold 2 of these still. I got 2 of the most floor assets ever on Reveal. Shout out Sugartown. Great. But they sold off briefly to 0.19 and have rebounded back up to 0.23, which is like unheard of in this market for a Reveal to not go to 0. So like it's like looking at the market right now, I'm like, this feels like some people are feeling a little bit more comfortable again, specifically on the ETH side. Solana is a whole different situation right now where they're selling off really hard because the tokens pumped 30% in 72 hours. So when you have such an aggressive move, you tend to see a little bit of a lag in NFTs sell off. With ETH not showing such relative strength, I really do think that's why you're seeing more people be like, honestly, I might get some exposure to projects I've been waiting on, because now if a project sells off 10% and ETH gets some level of rally here where they end up pushing 20% and the NFT only sells off 5%, you're actually up on the ETH and still hold the asset for future moves. The other thing that I've been watching closely is projects like Get Block Games with teasing a token airdrop absolutely ran. Like that's up 40%. And even though it's only 0.12, that's a great run. But like you have all these potential tokens dropping end of this year, start of next year with Meme Coin, Block, which is their token, and a few others that I'm like really closely watching. Because right now I'm like, okay, this is getting more interesting, and I'm kind of excited to see which of these projects continue to roll stuff out and get people really excited, especially with games actually going live. There's just a lot of really interesting stuff happening on ETH, and I think that's why the space is starting to show more signs of life right now.
When's the last time we said there were interesting things happening on ETH? It's been quite some time.
Yeah.
Bunny has his hand raised. Bunny, what's going on?
Yeah, the reason why we didn't touch it is because he's never fucking answered me.
What do you mean?
He shared the play for milk.
Message.
I just ignored the shit out of it. I was like, Bunny's sharing some garbage. I'm not going to look at this. He messages me like every 15 minutes later on how this thing is just giga sending. He's like 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. And he literally shared it while it was still minting. It was the best alpha Bunny's ever given since Proto Gremlins.
There was another small art play, Chromatic Harmonies. I think it's only like 200 pieces, but that minted for 0.05 and is at 0.3.
I mean, damn. That's pretty wild. Solana has reached $30 for the first time since FTX.
Skip over the question to me? You're going to skip over the notes where it asks what my thoughts are? You're going to throw to the boss king over here who's actually dominant in the face of all the fading and nonsense, who's out making videos despite the fact that there's FUD from all directions? You
flood from all directions.
what my thought is about the market.
Nick, you look like you almost just had an aneurysm with the way your eyes
This
just
is-
bulged out.
This is a short-term pump. Here's the biggest thing. Until Bitcoin pops over like 32,000, which I'm still skeptical of right now, is only that it's disconnecting from the actual market. I just don't believe that that's necessarily the case. We have DXY being flat. We have some other things going on right now. We have interest rates still continuing to increase with no sign of slowing. And we used to say, don't fight the Fed.
We do have signs of slowing though. Jerome Powell's, yeah, he just said that I don't remember the exact quote, but it would like it could do irreparable damage or something to raise them higher, was the quote, something like that.
Sorry, I don't think they're going to continue like increasing it. I mean I don't see them just like turning it around very quickly. And so that's the thing where I'm like, they say don't fight the Fed. The interest rates continue to rise. You could say it's priced in. I just don't know that it is. And so that's the one thing where like the market is not pumping. It's actually flat, relatively flat at the moment. But I don't know. You have a lot of sort of negative headwinds that you're fighting against, and so the biggest bull run for Bitcoin, at least the last one in all of crypto, was literally the Fed printing on like an incredible amount of money. So that's the one thing where I'm just like
40% of all dollars in circulation, Nick. Think about that number. That's absolutely wild.
So that's the one thing. The reality is there's still a decent amount of money out there. That said, I saw some stat the other day that something like 70% of people in the US are now below where they were at the beginning of COVID, meaning they've spent through all of their savings. And so they're back on the paycheck to paycheck treadmill. So I don't know what the biggest catalyst is coming for a lot of these different things at this moment in time. So this has been a great pump. And look, I'm cheering for Solana to go to 1,000. But I also just don't know, like, is it just doing that in the face of nothing? Like, is it not correlated to literally anything? And so far, it has been somewhat correlated to the broad market historically. I don't know. I'm just skeptical that this thing, like in the short term, is just gonna like double again. That we're gonna be at Bitcoin 60K, in the next month or something like that.
Yeah, definitely not in the next month, right? I said this on the Bitcoin ETF show, is that the conservative scenario that the kind of experts are talking about would be a 40K Bitcoin by the halving. So that's like 7 months, 8 months from now, right? And then the crazy bullish one would be 40K Bitcoin by the end of the year. I actually think that it could happen, but who knows? I think with Solana, I think you're still seeing a repricing of Solana. Dude, Solana had a tough go of it over the past year. I mean, come on. The FTX debacle was gnarly, and it went down to $8. We should look up how hard Solana fell during that period versus Bitcoin. And
way harder. If you look at the pair during the time, the Sol BTC pair from November 9th to I think it was December 26th is that range. It's literally just down and aggressive too. Like you look, because when FTX collapsed, it was still slightly over $10. And on December 26th, I think, or 27th, it was $7.95 at its low. And oddly enough, Vitalik tweeted about the community of Solana, which ended up pushing it to back up to 12 before a slight retrace. And since then, man, Jan 1st, we were $10. This thing is looking strong. It feels good. Like I was looking at my buys the other day, just scrolling back to that November, December period. And I was like, it feels good to see single digit Sol buys in here. Like for once to not fade myself, to be like, I'm either going down with the ship or we're going to make it, man. There's no in between. And knowing I still hold some of those, I'm like, this feels good.
Someone said breakpoint price manipulation. I can definitively tell you the increase in price on Solana is not because there's a conference next week in Amsterdam. Nick, you have the Sol Bitcoin pair pulled up?
Yeah. So this is what you're looking at. November. I mean, it dropped significantly. To get back to that, you would need this to basically, what is that, double?
Yeah, it has to go to 60. $60 while Bitcoin stays at 30K.
Yeah. So, but Solana's still looking very nice as a buy here. I called the local bottom, live on this show, was yet again faded, like my drone shots were faded this morning. And there I was on an island. Everyone's saying it's over. No one's going to buy this. And I said, this looks like the time to buy Solana. Boom. Called it right at the bottom. Just absolutely dominating it yet again. One call after.
You're the best there ever was, dude. There's no second best. Nick is the GOAT. The Michael Jordan of TA.
There we go. Yeah, this is, I will say, this range. I mean, look at the monthly on Bitcoin here. We're still in this range. We're pushing just above it, but you got a week left. And so I'm curious to see. The daily is also still, it's still on the verge of the, wait, sorry. Am I?
You're on the daily. Look at the weekly. The weekly is the one I really like. It's slightly.
Is it the hourly is the head and shoulders. Where's the head and shoulders? Oh, sorry. Maybe this is, huh. I have no idea where.
That's a beautiful chart, dude. That chart is just showing strength, like pure uptrend here.
Oh,
pure
here,
uptrend.
This is where we're going back. So the
But that looks like an inverse head and shoulders. Look at that.
no. So here we go.
That's
this comes back to the head and shoulders pattern that I was looking at. Look, this needs to break above this in order to invalidate this the position. So when I said this for those listening, it's Bitcoin needs to break above basically 32K. That and honestly, I mean, if it sustains over like 31K, then all right, like there is a chance that this is invalidated. But this pattern is looking like almost spot on. This also looks like it could take, this head and shoulders played out over a March, April, May 3-month period. So you're looking at like, this isn't an instant thing. So we could be enjoying this range on Bitcoin for the next month. We're having this conversation in December, basically, and then it pulls back. So it's difficult to say where we're going to be at, but I don't see the catalyst right now that makes this break above, unless again the ETF approval is the thing that we could maybe see push this higher. In which case, there's more demand coming in. My question is, once that's approved, does that immediately trade?
It will be. Yeah, it could take 24 to 48 hours after.
That fast?
Yeah, once it's approved, they'll open it up basically immediately. The bigger thing to watch for here is like these other ETFs that are trying to shift from volatility to spot, which are already trading. And if those are approved, that's immediate. New ones can take a little bit of processing time. But if all the paperwork's in line, it should take 48 hours at most to go live. It also depends. Like, I think they'll sandbag it and announce it on a Friday and then resume trading for it on Monday.
The only thing that'll make Bitcoin pump, I think the way that Nick's talking about between now and the end of the year, would be the ETF approval. Whenever I say these things about Bitcoin, about like, where it's going to go, it's like a 2 year, like the next 2 years, like 24 months are going to be beyond juicy for all this stuff. And I don't know what's going to happen in the next month. The only catalyst that I could see that would make like a God candle happen though would be the ETF. And I do think it would make a pretty like significant candle, but maybe that's like $2,000 or something like that. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not like a short-term guy. I don't know anything about technical analysis. Quite frankly, I don't really believe in it. But yeah, we'll see what happens between now and the end of the year. Go ahead, Nick.
If I can buy more Solana sub 20, I mean, that's just a huge win. And that's the thing that
you won't get sub 20, in my opinion.
No?
No, I think under 24 is where I'm looking for a strong retrace. I don't think under 20 is going to happen again. I was talking to somebody at like a Web3 event. They do like meetups in Miami, and they were asking like, will we see under 20 again? And Sol was at 2180, I think. And I was like, I don't think so. And that run has just been beautiful. They actually texted me yesterday and were like,
and then it dropped down to 17 right after that. So
Nope.
Hey, check the history.
We will
check the textbook.
The reality is buying Solana between 17 and 30, it doesn't matter where you buy it in that range. Like within the next 2 years, you will not be like rats. I bought it at 27 versus 21. It's just not going to matter like at all. So to me, it's like just accumulate it in these ranges and wait 2 years.
I think my average is like 20 at this point in time. So that's where I just keep buying. And Solana is one that's very interesting. The thought in my mind is also like, why not have $100,000 of Solana? Like, imagine just like the distinction. And I think back to sort of like the last bull run, all the people that were like really bullish on the timeline were people that had bought a bunch of ETH and a bunch of Bitcoin basically, and at lower prices, and then they were buying NFTs because suddenly their bank account, they had millions of dollars, which they had not had at that point in time because they were just steadily buying $100 here, $1,000 here, like small amounts over time. And now suddenly they have $1 million or $2 million or $5 million. Some people I spoke to got up to $20 million, and now they're down to like 1.5. Like that's basically the extreme and they were like, yeah, I definitely should have sold. A lot of people that were in that camp. And part of me is like glad because some of those people were complete jerks, like during the bull run, they were just pretentious douchebags that would sit there and act like they were just geniuses, and they were explaining things to you like they understood the future. And now suddenly their net worth is down 90%. So what the hell are you talking about? I was out selling, making money. I made more money than a lot of those people in the bull run, despite the fact that their net worth was 10 times higher than mine ever was.
Well, there you go. So, go ahead, second.
I was gonna say, but it's I mean, Nick, like what's interesting is that those same people are in the market right now, and what you're saying is that if there's some kind of really strong bull run, then obviously they feel like they have wealth creation. But I'm always hesitant to think they'll put that money back into NFTs because they were already burnt in the previous cycle, seeing how much is sold off. And for me, at the back of my head, I'm always thinking, well, isn't the lesson here that you missed the run up, you basically round trip. This time I don't want to round trip. So you're either going to just like convert to fiat and take some of those profits this time, or you're going to keep, a good portion of it as well in crypto and just, continue that long-term investment. But like, I don't necessarily see that money like transferring over to NFTs in the next bull run, or be ones which potentially have not come out. When we look at what's happened this weekend, I think it's interesting to see like Azuki had this massive sweep. In the Azuki community, there's always somebody who wants to like show off and say, that was me, I did this, or we did this, if there was some kind of DAO behind it. But in this case, like at that amount of money, it sounds like it's probably more of a institutional player rather than like an individual or small group of individuals. So it just makes me for me, it doesn't feel like those are real buys coming in. Like that is the community coming together to rally around the Azuki future and their potential roadmap. So I don't know, the market is green, but it feels a bit frail. Like I feel like it can pull back at any time, and you're just going to be left with the rubber band just snapping back in your face like, whoa, what the fuck happened? But that's on the NFT side, not necessarily on the crypto side.
For sure.
I mean, there's the people that I mentioned are still holding the majority of their NFTs that they bought during that. So to your point, I mean, they're just going to be selling into that next pump as they realize, like, as they learn this lesson from this time around, where they're like, what was I thinking? Because for them, there's literally like life financial decisions that need to happen at this point where they're like, I got to go get a job, like as a result of this. And it's hard to the ego to go from $20 million like a year ago to being like, I got to get a job. And that's the thing that's like, just like tough. You know what I'm saying? So like, I think for a lot of those people, you're right. I mean, they're going to be selling into that. I don't know that they're going to be a catalyst for the buying side right now, unless, some of them will make the same mistakes again. They're going to end up and by mistake, they may put more money into the NFT space. What we don't know is like what collections will be around at that point in time. But it is becoming a little more clear. Like, we are seeing where the action is during this bear market. I look at Pudgy. I look at what did Pudgy get up to this weekend?
5.3.
So not really a huge accumulation, but it's steady. And that's one of the it's acting like ETH, you know? So I think that that's one where I'm interested in that. I'm interested in I also think art is just like the place to be operating probably for the next bull run, with the generative art side of things has a ton of upside. So, yeah.
That's a flight to quality. It's way easier to have conviction on the art side than on, the sort of collectible profile picture startup side. But it is, like you said, Nick, very interesting to see where the money's kind of going to. Clemente has a question, but also wanted us to discuss whether we were selling Solana into this pump. My position is you're completely nuts if you're selling anything right now, like literally out of your mind. But I tweeted about this and people were like upset about it, because I need to remember a significant part of like the crypto Twitter space is this like insanely hardcore, gambler at the casino that tells you he's making money. Buy Solana for $27, sell it for $28. And I get that people do that or whatever, but that's just like so preposterous to me versus accumulating, like Nick said, 100K of Solana in this range and then check in 18 months. How's that sound?
I think you're missing the demographic that's operating on this. So if you're between 16 and 23, you fall into that category of people that are doing that daily flipping, and or people who just don't have a job and are trying to come up with creative ways to make money. They go and make a 10% flip one day and then think, well, if I do this every day, they extrapolate it out for 1 year, then I'm going to be making 250
and then
grand.
they slap leverage on it, and it gets into this chaotic cycle. It also depends on just like what your long-term horizon is. Like, I follow a lot of people who were buying at 18 and felt comfortable selling here on a 75% gain, which kudos to them. Like, it all depends on what your thesis is and what you're trying to do right now. And like, personally, I'm just too busy to actively trade. So for me, I'd rather just buy the things that I have conviction in, which is Solana, and sit on it and continue to stack it, stake it to a validator or somewhere else, even liquid staking, earn my 8% and keep compounding that. Like, that's a crazy change for me, because I went from aggressively trading every hour on the hour during the bull run and doing great. And now it's like, I don't need to do that because I just have this longer term conviction at the moment, where I would rather stack these and reap the rewards in, to your point, 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, I mean, the tax situation when you're flipping stuff like that, it gets pretty gnarly pretty quick.
It was a dumpster fire, PO. It was a dumpster fire. Even with the extension, wasn't having a good time.
Well, you're talking about the process of recording it, like, just documenting your trades, which is also a dumpster fire. But I mean, the amount of taxes that you end up paying is like a shit show. But I mean, like, yeah, when me and Nick were out to dinner with Bunny the other night, Nick brought up, I think, Nick, you said you had like 15K or no, 25K of Solana or something like that. And I was like, it's over
30,000 at this point.
I was like, that's really good, amigo. And actually it made me feel, so I have a lot of Bitcoin, Ethereum. I have like $3.5 grand of Dogecoin, because the normies are like, oh, a lot of people are talking
people's
about
coin.
it. That's definitely the people's coin. So I was like, if these normies are going to continue to be relentlessly obsessed with buying Dogecoin because it has a 9-cent price tag or whatever, I'm going to have some of that. But I realized, I think at that time I had like 7 or 8 grand of Solana, and I was just suddenly like, I feel naked. I was like, how do I only have 7 or 8 grand of Solana? What am I doing? So between that dinner and now, we bumped that up to 15K, but it's still not enough. We still got to get way more Solana. So my message to the traders out here that are like, it's a good time to take profits on Solana right now, we might see a pullback. Sell me your Solana at $30, ladies and gentlemen. Sell it to me. I'll gobble it up. This is the SBF call right now. I'll become the main character right now. Let's go. And then I'm going to rug Coinbase and ruin the crypto market.
Theo's going to buy all of the $5,000 trading in the market and gobble it up at $30.
That's what's going to happen. Anyway, moving on. For
A quick
Clemente,
question,
please.
Theo. I know you guys mentioned about NFTs, the flight to quality. Meanwhile, I was a little bit concerned about Utes. Super quick. They're sitting still below 0.8 while literally everything is pumping. The whole reason and the whole thesis around them moving to Ethereum was basically that they could move along with these waves. DeGod's pumped as well. These are not moving easy. Should we be concerned about Utes, or is this potentially a time to be buying them here at a discount?
Clemente, I want you to ask yourself, what happens if I buy a Ute?
Price goes up.
That's the only thesis, right? It's been 2 years now, and not a goddamn thing has happened with you. It's a full year since reveal. You need some type of catalyst, and at that point, what's going to happen? The bozos who've been holding it for 18 months, 12 months are going to dump the second that there's some aggressive liquidity. I think the one thing you can hope for and rely on here is maybe a flooring protocol sweep to dump them into the token side of things where they need to buy 500 ETH worth, and that Giga sends them. Sure. But right now, you're in a game where DeGods are 3.7. You could have got them for 3, which is still that ratio to Utes. I would still want a DeGods exposure because clearly that's where the focus is and has been and will continue to be. Yeah, to me, I don't want a Ute here. I think that there's better plays in that price range. I think that you can take more aggressive swings at things that are even cheaper with much higher upside, even well under the half an ETH range, which is where if I'm buying something, that's where my focus would be right now. I think there's a lot of quality that's even under 0.3 that you can, with that, get 2 of them for, play into some of these future rollouts. I think there's some interesting plays coming up on the actual minting side. I like Nick's call on art because that's currently seen a massive demand in the space. Watching Milk, I just can't get over it. Took 2 weeks to sell out and did a 10x. Right now is kind of the time to watch the market for newer things, and it's the same thing for any sort of small bull run, bull bounce, bull anything, is to watch for new stuff, because in the ICO craze, it wasn't the old stuff that gained traction. Sure, they had their moments, but new stuff is the stuff where you can find significantly farther and greater risk to reward ratios versus dumping into existing stuff. And that's where my entire focus is right now, is watch for the narratives, play into the new stuff, and reap the rewards of it versus chasing old things at the moment.
Yeah, real quick. People are like, we have Mr. Yellow commenting that youth should like do something. What could they do that would make the price go up? The price of Azuki but the price of Azuki just went up because someone bought $500,000 of Azuki. That's like that's what happens. And for a long time, Frank, was influencing people with big wallets to buy Utes and DeGods, and the price went up. Like, it's very unclear that doing something like making a software product or making a platform or making an experience makes the price go up. In fact, I don't think we've seen any examples where that's the case. Like, any examples of building like a software product, an experience, a platform makes the price go up. Really, what we've seen make the price go up is like hype on social media and pitching, people with huge wallets to do big sweeps.
But it's the new stuff. When new stuff does something, price goes up because it's already cheap. And that's the big thing, is they can speculate on them doing something that gets people excited. And that's where you're looking at it. Like, yes, I do hold Sugartown, but like, that is the one thing. Their reveal shocked me. I was like, this thing's going to go to 0.1 and I'm going to be stuck holding these things. And it bounced because it's Zynga. You look at Zynga. That's a big thing. And basically anything they roll out is something new and at a price point that's almost 4x cheaper than a U, makes me more interested. I'm not a fan of the art, though. I will say these things look like beans. Just
they copied beans.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that have been pushing against that. It's like when mom says we have beans at home. That's kind of the vibes that I get with it. But like, there's some other things that I'm aggressively looking at that become more interesting, and it is largely token based, because I'm like, okay, I got to start researching some of these things that have a potential token airdrop that are at the 0.1 range, because do you think you're going to get more than $100 for the token, more than $200? There's certainly a high chance. You look at ZTX, which gave $2,000 if you played 90 minutes of their game. And I'm like, that's where I'm more interested, is like, there's a lot of new opportunity that I want to focus on versus diving into a project that's existing that basically needs to resurge focus. And yeah, sure, if anyone's going to be able to do it, it'd be the DeGods, Dust Labs camp, because they have such experience with this. But I'd still rather take a swing at that 0.1, 0.2 range for upside gain.
Nick, looks like you want to weigh in with something.
No.
No,
I like Easy's thesis on that because like the space was dunking on those Michelin Man NFTs and they're like the
You
walking
faded
one.
a 3x, baby.
I know. And then, well, actually, Clemente called it. He said last week, like, hey guys, shouldn't we be buying these? Because there's gonna be the natural supply cut and then they're gonna go up. And we were all like, huh, come on, Clemente. But look, that's been a 3x 0.05. Everybody was saying, like, you know, even I was saying, like, nah, I'm not really keen on this. And so Easy, I'm writing your thesis right now that these like small plays, which like normally we wouldn't probably touch, seem to be having legs at the moment. So if you're doing gaming, I'm doing fine dine restaurants.
There you go. That's what I'm saying, right? We need another one to come out here and drop it.
Doing tires. They're giving you like samples of rubber.
No, but they come with food. There's a raffle that you get to go to some motor race thing, and there's dining experiences. So
There actually was
and food
in the Discord.
Nick is scarred though, guys. He bought into Flyfish Club and he still can't eat there, so he's waiting it out.
Yeah, what is the deal with Flyfish Club? What the hell is going on there?
Flyfish Club walked so Michelin could run, Nick.
They did say in the Discord, they were like, yeah, we're working on getting you guys discounted tires. Just like we're working on it still. Stay patient.
guys. Okay, look, I'm sorry.
Tires ain't cheap.
Are super expensive. Okay, maybe in the US they're cheap, but tires.
No, they're not cheap. Not cheap.
And also,
not
I
cheap.
don't know what car you all drive, but tires are expensive, man. Like, I wouldn't mind if like Michelin was like, boom, here's 100% voucher to go get 4 new tires, winter ones as well for my car. I'd be over the moon. I'd be buying them a dinner to say thank you.
Free mounting too? Oh, now we're getting into utility, man. Free tire pressure checks every Sunday. Count me in. I'm sold.
I mean, it's so funny when the legacy brands, well, I mean, look, every single time you introduce something like that with an NFT, the price just starts violently going down because people realize like, wait, like, so that's a value of, I don't know, 25% off of a tire. Even if the tires are like, if it's a $400 tire, it's like $100. Then all of a sudden you're looking at the price of the NFT, you list it, people start undercutting you immediately. It's almost like the second you decide to sell something, the bots come in. It really does feel that way sometimes. It's just hilarious. At the end of the day, like you can't really introduce too much because then the price just goes down. Clemente, it looks like you wanted to weigh in with something.
Yeah, the only other one that I was looking at potentially buying here was just thinking about was Opepens, because Jack Butcher teased this like squiggle Opepens. So the price for these shot up. I think they're up 15% in the last 7 days, but they're unrevealed Opepens are up even more. I think they're up 20+%. Everyone thinks that they're potentially doing a collab with Snowfro.
You got to be careful though, man.
Right.
Did you see Snowfro's release with that velocity passes, the Red Bull pass?
Wasn't it just a bunch of hats?
It was even worse, dude. It was basically like an F1 logo with just like a couple squiggle colors of the F1 logo. And people were pissed because they thought they were going to get a unique Snowfro piece. It actually sent velocity passes to 2 ETH from 0.7 because they believed that the airdrop from Snowfro would make up for the difference. It has just not made up the difference at all. And it ended up leading to some very volatile price action, which I think actually hurt the Opepens drop with the potential squiggle, because now they're like, I don't feel so great about this watching what just happened with the last Snowfro partnership. And there's this kind of overlap. So I think even this, like, once again, man, you look at something like a Rafiq Anadol, who's just been cooking right now. And that's why Milk pumped, was because he's like a disciple of Rafiq. And you actually just saw, I think Dior teased Winds of Yamawama in a store, and it got a ton of positive viewership on social media. So right now we're seeing some of these new artists gain traction, get excitement. People that have similar styles get the same overlap effect. And that's, once again, it's the new stuff.
So a couple things on Flyfish. I just wanted to do a quick update on this.
Nick's been researching real quick.
I did some research here. So the reality is it wasn't expected to open until the beginning of 2024. It's on track. They're going to be doing an event at the end of this year in New York. The building that it's inside is absolutely stunning. It's on Houston Street, which it is a slightly weird location, but it actually it's a very convenient location. The building is gorgeous, and they're gonna have this restaurant going on down there. I'm gonna, what's gonna happen? I'm going to go bike over there today to find out what's happening. That's today's video, okay? We're going to find out what's going on down at the Flyfish building and see if I can even just break into it real quick, you know?
It looks like if I read the description of Flyfish Club, it says this token represents your ownership of membership to our private dining club. As a Flyfish member, you'll have access to the cocktail lounge, restaurant, outdoor space, and private events on a first come, first served basis. As a member, you can choose your table size for reservation from 2 to 8 person tables, and you can bring guests, non-token holders, to join you. This thing's $2,400. All of a sudden, it's feeling like this might be a good buy.
I mean, you want an exclusive party in New York City. When I go out at night, it costs me $5,000. You know, like that's like that's like a regular dinner on a Thursday. You know what I'm saying? So to have the value at $2,400 here just makes a ton of sense. In all seriousness, it's been pretty static on the price action. 24. I don't know what the cost of a private dining membership that you can resell is, but like the fact is you can resell it. I think I sold it for a loss, bought back. Oh, I bought it at 3 ETH. Is that what happened?
It does look like 3 ETH 10 months ago.
After I had sold one, maybe. So
I'm curious if they end up doing some like rental model here. Like if you don't live in New York, renting out a spot would be really interesting. And honestly, even if there's an underground market for that, that'd be even more interesting. Because like maybe you don't want to do the whole securities route, but I think like giving people the access to it becomes, this could be a cash cow, Nick. Maybe you made a great trade on this. Maybe you're sitting on something pretty.
dude, I'm gonna go figure out the scene today and
Hey, call Gary right now. Get him on the phone.
Video. Actually, maybe I do. Maybe I literally text him and I'll show myself texting Gary, and then it'll be like, Gary, I need a comment on when is Flyfish launching. I'm making a video right now. Give me an official comment and tell me tell me that my money was worth investing. Okay. Because I'm down 10 grand on this right now. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. I'm down 10 grand on that. I'm down 10 grand on the
I think it's a little higher than 10, my friend.
V-friend. The V-friend, I'm down.
Don't forget about the punk.
Well, Gary didn't tell him to buy the punk. That one was on his own, but the Gary's cost you a lot of money. That's for sure.
Technically $20,000 that I'm down on Gary V trades right now. So the least he can do is respond to a text message and a video. I will be recording that, and we'll see what happens. I'm gonna go do an investigation today to actually do a little bit of coverage of
everybody that did V Friends 1 is down like 50 grand, so it's not that bad.
You wanna join me, PO, today, this afternoon?
Sure.
We'll just do a quick shoot.
Sure.
See, Nick, he's not waiting until Thursday. He's out there. He's on the streets.
We making moves on a Monday. We making moves on a Tuesday. We're not PO, for a lot of the people in our audience try to understand sort of what our work ethic is. Usually PO from Monday through Wednesday just kicks back. You know, he's just sitting at the beach, just relaxing, not really doing a damn thing, you know? And so that's kind of, and I'm always on what I'm usually doing is just calling him and being like, will you please do something, PO? Will you please do something? Why are you just spending your entire days like you're retired, dude?
A lot of boxing, a lot of soda drinking. Not great.
That burrito consumption, man. We got to talk about it, P.O. I gave up sugar and you adopted it. I don't know what's been going on with you, man.
He did 2 workouts yesterday. Like what's that do for the floor price, P.O.? What's that do for the floor price? People want to know. Side note, last morning I woke up and I was like, you got to just get moving. So I went and worked out, did a workout. And then this morning I woke up, did a workout. I think the reality is like, you got to just get up and work out. You got to move. That's like, I think like
get the blood flowing.
Thing that needs to happen to start the day. I've been thinking about it. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, you just got to, you like all of the mental stuff. I'm seeing all these tweets about depression, and shout out to people that suffer from actual clinical depression, you know, and you have to take prescriptions for it, etc. But the thing is, and I will say, like, working out doesn't actually cure clinical depression. So I just want to make that clarification. But it can be very helpful. Pio's looking skeptical as someone that was suffering from panic attacks on a regular basis, despite a willingness to work out, seek therapy, practice meditation, everything. It literally did nothing. And I was like, I guess there is a degree where I can't do anything. But yes.
People are saying, did Nick just shout out depression?
Shout out to depression. No, I'm talking about shout out to the people who were posting about it. I saw Zeneca make a post where he was talking. He was like, I need to be transparent. And then I saw, who's the photographer that Kath did the same thing. And now it's going viral to post about the depression that you have.
Oh, I'm going to post one that's real good. I'm going to do a real good one. Just be like, yeah, I don't know. I got to think about a funny way to do this. It's pretty disrespectful to people that
fun of people with depression and how to make that go viral. And let me tell you, may not be the right path, but figure it out. Some stand-up comedians do make those sort of things work. Some say very offensive things. I tried a joke this weekend, which I cannot even say on this show, and it created significant tension in my relationship to a degree where Saturday night went from being a banger to be me trying to take back my words. And that did not land well. I'm not doing that again. Learn from your mistakes. I'm out here like a comedian testing stuff, but there's certain lines that should not be crossed. And I pushed the limit of that this weekend. Can
you please say it? I agree with the commentators. We need to hear it because the person who you said it to is not here. So technically, you're not offending that person again.
Let me just say that the B word was utilized inside of the joke. And so it had landed previously, but last night it did not land. And so what I realized is it's not worth the risk. It was, I'll tell you the context in which it went down, actually. Okay. So yesterday or Saturday, we're hanging out, my girlfriend and myself. We go and we're doing some activities. I don't even remember what we were up to, but needless to say, we come back, we're hanging out, and we went, I think we went and grabbed a beer, and we came back to the apartment. And I was like, we should go shoot around the basketball or something like that. And she was pretty exhausted at this point. And I was like, do you need to take a nap? And she flipped out when I said, do you need to take a nap? And I'm like, what? I was like, I'm just seeing what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just figuring out. But she thought that I was saying, you need to take a nap. I was telling her what she needs to do. Never tell a tired person that they need to take a nap because we go into child mode. Ironically, I act the exact same way. If someone's like, looks like you need to take a nap, I'm like, yo, you did not just tell me that I need to take a nap. No, that's not going down. I'm about to come after you. I may murder you. So in that scenario, when she said it, I started dancing around and over-exaggerating the situation of what happened. And she started laughing and seeing the ridiculousness of the scenario. We reconciled, all was good. Later that night, we're watching some TV show and I'm falling asleep on the couch. And she's like, seems like you may need to take a nap. We're like, you may need to go.
Got him.
And I wake up and I'm like, no, I don't. And in the context of this, I threw out
a word.
No, I don't, bitch.
No, I didn't. So that wasn't how it was delivered.
Okay, it sounds like that might have been the delivery, Nick.
Damn! Oh, it went to zero.
That was
Oh, good Lord.
I mean, amigo, that's a tough one to pull off. I don't know if Anthony Jeselnik can pull that one off, amigo. That's
as I was going, I was like, that was not. But the way those weren't the exact. That wasn't the exact way.
It's kind of close, right? Similar structure, right?
Oh, you let it fly.
People are saying it's lucky that I still have my balls, but the reality was, well, I guess technically I kind of navigated it, but yesterday the problem is there's a little bit, there's a little bit of a saltiness that pops back up once in a while, like that, like it doesn't just fade away. It's not just like you reconciled and things were all good. So like there's a little bit of like, I'm gonna get stabbed maybe like randomly on the next day. There may be some other thing where she just, goes completely silent and you're just like, whoa, what's going on? Sounds like I need to be in timeout here. So that was the situation that went down.
People are pointing.
If there's ever a moment in the near future, and you're like, yeah, but I haven't done anything. You did. You just don't remember that she's holding it in her head as a grudge against you for your shitty behavior. So all I'm saying, you gotta make it up to her.
The first half of this last week, she was salty and didn't tell me why. And by like Thursday, it comes out about how I didn't help her with some dishes when my mom was in town. And I'm just like, like this, like it accumulated to this situation where I'm just like, why did you wait till Thursday to have this conversation? Like we could have addressed this head on. And I'm gonna be proactive and take care of things, which I was in that situation after she had said something. I washed the dishes twice over. I took the clean dishes, rewashed them again, and let her know. Sent a video of myself to her showing myself cleaning those dishes, and then presented multiple gifts and got on my knees and put my head down to sacrifice myself as a result of that behavior. So anyways, that's what was going on.
I actually thought you would have said, so you did pretty good there, Nick. I thought what you were about to say is that you were going to tell her that women do the dishes. So I feel like you did much better than saying that. I literally thought you were going to say that, buddy.
And then I said, no, you know that sketch? And I said, bitch.
Yeah, the Key and Peele. You called your wife a bitch. Like you called her a bitch right there. Right? And yeah, it totally did. Yeah. Well, anyway,
I decided to actually test out that theory. Let me tell you, it's a not land well. But that the way that you delivered it, the delivery, you really need to understand of how it. Anyhow.
The commenters are so on fire right now, just crushing it. 9-hour Nick with word. We got God Bounce saying Jesse Pinkman is the only one that can pull that off. That's a Breaking Bad reference for all you TV people out there. We got Sean saying he's a rapper now. What do you want? People saying gangster rap made him do it. Really, really fun stuff happening in the comments.
We started talking about rap music and the use of bitch in the actual like music. So I think what happened was somehow we were having a conversation literally about this word prior to even this going down. So I told her that I was speaking to it as of the reference to some rappers use where the gun is the bitch. You know what I'm saying? The gun that they're referring to, not women, and so there's a lot of nuance to this word,
Well, there you go. Yeah. I don't even know if Dave Chappelle could have got you out of that one, man. That's a funny one. Mr. Yellow is just on fire right now, absolutely cooking it.
Last note, quick story. So yesterday we go apple picking. All the people that were going to come with us like completely abandoned this process. First, Dasha's friends had she was they were supposed to show up, but they came home at 7 a.m. from a birthday party the night before. And I was like, yeah, they're not coming apple picking. And then my friends, their 1-year-old child came and they were driving there. And apparently he like violently was throwing up all over the car. And they were like, we got to turn around and take this car to a cleaner. But the whole situation was a disaster. So it was just Dasha and myself. And we end up on the ride that brings you to the orchard. And literally, this was the gayest ride that you've ever been on because it was 20 gay dudes And I swear there were like 3 straight people on this ride. So this is just a party of gay dudes that are just like sitting on this ride, and they're just having at it. They're talking. One group's talking about Grindr. They're all taking selfies with each other. Some of them are hooking up with each other. There's guys that are like in a couple. But anyway, so they're just having like a gay expedition here. It's not a hayride, it's a gay ride. And when we got up to the orchard, we're now apple picking. These gay guys get into a literal apple war. So I didn't include the clip, but these guys are pegging each other with apples in a way that I was actually somewhat surprised, because you get hit in the head with an apple, you're just fucked up like that. Like, I don't think you want to get hit in the head with an apple, but these guys are hitting them and they're getting pissed. These guys are like, there's 2 guys who I keep watching. There's one guy who's this instigator that's just running around, literally just pelting his friends with apples. It was such a scene. So the scene that I have where I'm saying we learned about apple wars or whatever it was, where you can get in a fight, and I'm tossing them to my girlfriend. People are like, I can't believe you throw like that. I'm like, yeah, I didn't want to pitch it at her head. So like, I just want to be clear. I'm trying to avoid injuring her. And so I'm sitting there with these apples, but right behind me was actually in that aisle was 2 guys who had just previously gone down, and we were getting hit with their apples. We were catching stray apples, basically, is what was going on. So I just thought I'd share that story of the gay ride that we were on. I think they walked back, but yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, we're at an interesting point in the show. I want to note the YouTube audience, the size of the audience has been increasing during this segment on YouTube, and the size of the Twitter audience is decreasing. So you're seeing the difference in platforms there. The YouTube audience is like, I'm here for the Apple gay hayride portion of the show, which I definitely did not expect. And the Twitter audience is like, I thought you were going to talk about some price going up, and thus they are leaving. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. What a turn it took for the last, call it 18 minutes of airtime. There we go. The show happens Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern time each and every week, right here on Twitter Spaces, also available on YouTube if you want the video feed. We also stream the video feed to Twitter, also available on Apple and Spotify podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back tomorrow. Hope